Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mini Books Podcast with your host Gloria and Rogan, and today we are excited to dive into Special Book with You. We picked this one because it has really important lessons to share and we can't wait to talk about them. So let's get started. Ever scorched a pan? Like really scorched it. I'm talking about that pan where you're like, is this even salvageable anymore?
We've all been there. It's like the culinary walk of shame to the trash can.
Right. But you know what's even more frustrating? Not knowing why those kitchen disasters happen in the first place.
It's true. Cooking isn't just about following recipes blindly. It's about understanding the hows and the whys.
And that's where science comes in, which is exactly what we're diving into today with Kenji López-Alt and his book, The Food Lab. Have you heard of him?
Absolutely. He's an MIT grad turned chef, so he really gets both the science and the art of cooking.
Exactly. He doesn't shy away from experimenting, questioning traditional wisdom, really getting to the bottom of things.
Which is so refreshing.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to challenge those long-held beliefs that we've all come to accept as gospel.
Exactly. So he kind of breaks down cooking to this idea of it being essentially an act of energy transfer, right?
Absolutely. It's about understanding how heat and energy work together to transform ingredients.
Okay, break it down for me. Energy transfer, heat. It sounds a little intimidating.
Okay, think of it this way. Imagine jumping into a lake that's 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Brr, I'm cold just thinking about it.
Right. Now imagine standing outside on a 60-degree day. Same temperature, very different experience.
Okay, yeah, I get it. In the lake, I'd be freezing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's because water holds a lot more heat energy than air, even at the same temperature.
So it's not just about the number on the thermometer, but how much heat is actually involved.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And different ingredients and cookware materials hold and transfer that heat differently. It's like,
What?
well, think about it like a shot of espresso. You can pour that shot into a tiny cup or a giant pot, and the total amount of caffeine stays the same.
Ah, I see. The volume changes, but the total energy, the caffeine, is constant.
Exactly. It's the same principle with heat transfer in cooking.
Okay, that espresso analogy really makes it click for me. So this scientific approach can be applied to any culinary myth or question, right?
Absolutely. And one that Lopez-Alt tackles head-on is the idea that New York City water is the secret to amazing pizza crust.
Oh, the great NYC water debate. I've heard about this.
It's a classic case of people attributing culinary magic to a specific ingredient. And Lopez-Alt, being the meticulous guy that he is, actually put this to the test.
Oh, he did? What did he do?
He designed a controlled experiment using bottled waters with different mineral contents, including that famous NYC tap water, to see if it actually made a difference.
Wow, that's dedication. So how do you even go about eliminating bias in a taste test like that?
Well, first off, he had his wife relabel all the bottles with numbers so that even he didn't know which pizza was made with which water.
Wow, talk about taking it seriously. That's impressive. So who got to be the taste testers for this experiment? I bet there was a line out the door.
Well, let's just say he didn't skimp on the expertise. We're talking big names in the food world. Ed Levine, Adam Kuban from Serious Eats, the Serious Pizza people.
Wow, the pressure was on. So what were the results? Did NYC water live up to the hype?
It was interesting, and not what anyone expected. While the pizzas made with highly mineralized water, like Evian, did have slightly crispier crusts.
Slightly crispier, okay.
It wasn't a clear winner. You know, what they actually found was that a lot of the variation in the crust, the chewiness, the crispiness, came down to subtle differences in how the pizza dough was handled.
So things like kneading, shaping, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Even tiny changes in the oven temperature played a bigger role than the water itself.
So the water wasn't the magic ingredient after all?
Not really, no. And, I think that's something that's really important to keep in mind with cooking in general. Sometimes things are more nuanced than we think.
It's kind of freeing in a way, right? You don't have to overthink every single ingredient.
Right. It's about understanding the big picture.
Yeah.
And that sometimes those tiny details matter more than we realize.
Exactly. Which brings me to another myth that Lopez-Alt tackles. Searing meat to seal in the juices.
Ah, yes, the searing myth.
Something I've heard a million times, but turns out it's not quite true.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's been passed down for generations. But, it only takes a little bit of observation and a little bit of scientific thinking to debunk it.
I know. It's so obvious when you actually think about it. Like, Sear one side of a steak and watch the juices pour out the other side. It makes you wonder. And that's what's so cool about Lopez-Alt's approach. He doesn't just tell you to do something a certain way. He explains why it works, or in some cases, why it doesn't.
Exactly. It's empowering. Like, once you understand that searing isn't about sealing in moisture, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. You're not afraid to experiment with things like reverse searing or sous vide cooking.
It's like realizing you've got this whole culinary toolbox you never even knew about.
Yes. And speaking of tools, every good cook needs a reliable set of pots and pans.
Oh, don't remind me. This is where my cream-reducing disaster comes back to haunt me. Clearly, I did not choose the right pot for that job.
Well, everyone's been there. But what Lopez-Alt points out is that understanding the properties of different cookware materials can really up your cooking game. It all comes down to things like heat conductivity and heat retention.
Okay, so heat conductivity, that's how fast a material heats up, right?
Yeah.
And heat retention is how well it holds that heat. Sorry to interrupt you guys. If you're enjoying this podcast, then don't forget to check out our official YouTube channel, Mini Books Podcast, and subscribe for more great podcasts like this one.
You got it. And every material has its strengths and weaknesses. Like stainless steel, for example. Super durable, easy to clean, but notorious for being a poor heat conductor.
Uh-huh. So that's why my stainless steel pans always seem to have these hot spots that burn everything.
Exactly. It's prone to uneven heating, which isn't ideal for, say, making a delicate sauce or cooking something like fish.
Makes sense. What about aluminum? I've always heard good things about how well it conducts heat.
Aluminum's great for that heats up quickly and evenly. It's lightweight too, and generally pretty affordable, which is a plus. However, there's a catch. Untreated aluminum can react with acidic foods.
Oh, really? What happens?
Well, it can affect the taste of your food, sometimes not in a good way, and over time it can actually damage the pan itself.
Yikes. Good to know. So what about anodized aluminum? I've seen those, and they're supposed to be more durable and non-reactive.
You're right. Anodized aluminum has that protective layer, so it's a lot more durable and won't react with your food. It's a really good all-around material, especially if you're someone who cooks a lot of eggs or needs something reliable for sauces.
Got it. Anodized aluminum check. Now let's talk about the Cadillac of cookware, copper.
Ah, copper. Now we're talking.
It's the gold standard, right?
In terms of heat conductivity, nothing beats it. It heats up in a snap and responds to temperature changes really well, so you have a lot of control.
Okay, I can see why chefs love it. It's like having that precise control to go from searing to simmering in a flash.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You said it. But of course, that level of performance comes with a price tag to match.
Yeah, copper cookware is definitely an investment. Maybe if I win the lottery. So for us non-lottery winners, what about those laminated pans?
Those are a fantastic option. They're often a combination of materials like an aluminum or copper core sandwiched between layers of stainless steel.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Exactly. The superior heat conductivity of the aluminum or copper with the durability and ease of stainless steel.
Okay, that makes sense. They always seem like a good middle ground. So we've covered a lot of ground here: stainless steel, aluminum, copper, laminated pans. But what about my personal favorite, cast iron?
Cast iron. The workhorse of the kitchen. And, Lopez-Alt is a huge fan. He actually compares his well-seasoned cast iron pan to his dog.
He did not. Okay, I have to hear this. A cast iron pan is like a dog. How so?
Well, he talks about how both require a little TLC, regular standing for the pan, walks and treats for the dog. But if you put in the effort, they reward you with loyalty.
That's hilarious and very true, especially when it comes to cast iron. And nothing beats that crispy crust you get with a good cast iron pan.
Absolutely. It's fantastic for high heat cooking, searing, frying. And since it retains heat so well, it's great for slow cooking too, like stews and braises.
And even baking. My cornbread has never been the same since I started using a cast iron skillet.
There you go. It's like that multi-purpose tool you can use for just about anything. And just like a loyal companion, a cast iron pan gets better with age. The more you use it, the more seasoned it gets, and the better the nonstick surface becomes.
Okay, that settles it. I'm officially adding get a cast iron pan to my to-do list.
I fully support that decision. But remember, with any tool, the key is understanding how to use it properly. And that's where a little bit of food science goes a long way.
It's amazing how much we've learned just by diving into some of the science behind food. I feel like I'm looking at my kitchen differently now, less like a place of mystery and more like a playground.
That's the beauty of it. We often think of science and cooking as separate things, but they're actually intertwined. And the more we understand how those two things work together, the more creative and confident we become in the kitchen.
And that's what I love about Lopez-Alt's approach. He doesn't just tell you what to do, he empowers you to understand why you're doing it, to experiment, to challenge those old culinary myths. He even encourages his readers to conduct their own kitchen experiments and maybe even debunk a myth or two along the way.
Imagine that. What if we all approached cooking with that same sense of curiosity and a desire to understand the why behind every sizzle, every bubble, every browned crust?
Instead of just blindly following recipes, we could become culinary detectives, unlocking the secrets of flavor and texture hidden within each ingredient and technique. We could all become food scientists in our own kitchens.
Exactly. And who knows, you might be the one to uncover the next big culinary breakthrough, the technique or ingredient combination that revolutionizes a classic dish or creates something completely new.
So for everyone listening, the next time you're in the kitchen, remember, don't just cook, experiment. Question those old wives' tales. Pay attention to the subtle cues your food is giving you, and most importantly, have fun.
Because at the end of the day, the kitchen is your laboratory, and you are the scientist. Embrace the joy of discovery, and let your culinary creativity run wild.
And hey, if you do stumble upon a groundbreaking culinary revelation, be sure to share it with the world. After all, good food is meant to be shared. Happy cooking, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to dive into more book insights and key learnings, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Mini Books Podcast, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We're back every Sunday at 9 a.m. with new books and more to learn from. Until next time, take care, keep learning, and keep growing. Remember, this is Mini Books Podcast.